Welcome to Behind Their Success. This podcast is for people who are feeling stuck on their entrepreneur journey or in their careers. It's for people who want to scale and grow their businesses, learn about the power of mindset, or they just know there's more out there and they want to start making changes. I'm Peyton Squires, the host of the podcast. I was never cut out to be an employee, and when I was an employee, I was bored out of my mind. So I made a plan. I studied and passed the CPA exam in 8 months while working, all with the end goal in mind of quitting my job and starting my own business. I did that in 2014 and has been an amazing wild ride since. So now let's hear from other entrepreneurs and what mindsets, and probably more important, what actions they have taken that have created and led to their success.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Behind Their Success podcast. I'm Peyton Squires, the host, and today we have Brad Englert on. Brad is the founder of Brad Englert Advisory, and he is an author, advisor, and technologist. He has worked for Accenture for 22 years, including 10 years as a partner. He then served as the CIO, Chief Information Officer for the University of Texas at Austin for 8 years. He recently has his new book out called The Spheres of Influence. In the book, Brad talks about an actionable roadmap for emerging and established leaders to develop and perfect what he calls the critical hard skill of building effective and enduring business relationships. He focuses on internal and external spheres of influence. Brad, good morning. Welcome on the podcast. So, Brad, you're really into a lot of what you see is very kind of key to success is mentorship and leading type people. What makes that so valuable?
They don't teach a lot of these principles in business school. I did this all my electives at the business school at the University of Texas in Austin. They never talked about building business relationships. However, that's where the value comes. And so I think there's a gap there where mentors can help those, especially early in your career. You know, don't be transactional. Don't keep rushing down the field. Be intentional. Take your time and figure out who are the people that you should be focusing on. Your boss, your direct reports from your manager, executive leaders, all your staff if you're running an organization. And then that's your internal sphere of influence. You have a lot of impact on those people and then on you. And then your external sphere of influence are those who have less direct impact, customers, peers, and influencers, and strategic vendor partners. There are different ways to build all those relationships, and that's where a mentor can help navigate. When I finished the book, I just sat back and I thought, well, what are the 3 principles that apply to all business relationships? I didn't have that going in, so it was, after 200 pages, and every business relationship has 3 components or principles. 1, understand their goals and aspirations. What are they trying to achieve? What is your boss trying to achieve? What are your direct reports trying to achieve? 2nd, set and manage expectations. How often we skip over that. We just kind of rush right to the solution, but we don't talk about, what do you expect? When do you expect it? When I was the boss, I made sure I was specific about when I needed something, what I needed, I didn't just leave it up in the air. And then 3rd is genuinely care for their success. When I joined the university, I met with this 40-year professor, very crusty guy. I worked with him 50 years prior on designing the statewide network for Texas. And I said, okay, give me some advice. He goes, get out of the office and tell me to give it, Dan. And that was the best advice. Just get out there and meet with the people who your peers and influencers.
Yeah. And, it's kind of interesting. You made the point that, universities aren't necessarily teaching a lot of these skills or talking about a lot of these things. And which formal education, it's hard for them to teach necessarily a lot of soft skills because, like, how do you measure that? How do you even tell if somebody's getting better at that versus like hard skills? It's really easy for, a university to teach mathematics or what have you, right, because there's like this set process. You can teach that process, but the soft skills, like you said, are really where all the value's at. As a guy that, as a consultant, myself in kind of the wealth and tech area, that my whole business is just business relationships and taking care of people and communication. And of course, I got to be competent at what I do. People want to make sure you're competent, but at the same time, that's probably not even the most important piece, right? It's the
And
relationship.
that's where, they really talk about, go network, go to an event and collect a bunch of business cards. It's like in 40 years, I've never been to a networking event that led to an authentic business relationship. I had some good cocktails, but, it was.
It's, in a lot of those events or whatever, it's really hard to actually get below the surface, right? And so you're not really making any real connections, right? If you're just high level surface, passing out business cards, having, oh, what do you do? What do you do? You're not really getting to the underneath of like the values that people have and the shared values.
I had a woman yesterday. They read the book. She goes, "Yeah, I went to this networking event, and a week later, I got an email from someone I met there asking for a donation to their nonprofit." Look, I don't even know those terms.
Yeah, and it's just so short-sighted, right? And so, Brad, in the book you talk about communication, and right, I firmly believe almost every problem between humans in the world is just poor communication. So, Brad, looking back at your career so far, what would you credit as the best decision you've made?
When some spouses, significant others, I found put pressure on their spouse and didn't support them, and I think just providing that safety net was really important for me.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. Your home life, especially your significant other relationship, if that's not solid, like you can still go have success. You can still have some certain level of success, but in no way are you ever going to reach your full potential without how things are operating at home is going to affect how you show up, on a daily trying to get your job done. So, on the flip side of that, Brad, big mistake you've made.
Trusting people who shouldn't have been trusted. So be on the lookout for these untrustworthy traits: fake niceness, no basic respect for confidentiality, no accountability, not taking responsibility for their damaging actions, spreading rumors about you to others, gossiping about others to you, lack of empathy, failure to uphold commitments, and always seeing themselves as fate when they are often the devil.
That's a good one. Yeah, and it's tough, right? In some of those things, like you just, you don't know. You don't know until you get into the fire or into the trenches. When you interview people, everybody shows up and generally interviews pretty well, right? Like they put their best forward, but like, especially in the hiring retention world, it's really like you don't know until somebody's in the job and doing the job. And what kind of person you are. And the best piece of advice I've ever got around employees and stuff like that is to hire fast and fire fast.
I had to learn to fire fast.
No.
I got better as I got older, especially if there's dishonesty. It's just like you just can't put up with that.
Yeah, and there's a huge difference between like, okay, they don't necessarily have the skills or whatever. We can develop some skills.
That's right.
So, Brad, thinking back, on your career again, what is one piece of advice you'd give to your younger self? So say you're starting back at the beginning of your career and you could tell yourself one piece of advice. Well, what would that be?
Slow down. You don't have to rush to the solution. Sometimes it's better to think about it longer. Sometimes the problem goes away. It's like relax. And so I think just not rushing to judgment, just being more, give yourself some mental space and time to solve problems.
For me personally, that's a great bit of advice as a guy that's maybe characterized as impatient or just, I want to get things done and move things forward and all those types of things. And that's good. That's helped me move along and get to the point I'm now. But it's true. It's hard sometimes to enjoy the ride a little bit, right? Yeah, that's great advice there, Brad. Like often we get such a big hurry, and I've always heard the metaphor, but they're like, "Hey, you're rushing so fast to climb the ladder. You better stop and make sure you're climbing the right ladder." Because often we're just running, going, and we may get somewhere and realize, "Wow, that's not even where I was trying to get or wanted to get." We didn't even take the time to think about where we wanted to be. So Brad, what's the best way people connect with you? I know you got, your book out, the Spheres of Influence.
There's a link in there to the book. There's some sample pages you can take a look at. It's actually an Amazon bestseller in 3 categories, which I'm happy about. Leadership training, mentoring and coaching, customer relations. And those were actually my target areas. So I was really pleased with that.
Brad, it's been a great conversation with you. And I appreciate you coming on, and we enjoyed you on the show.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you found it valuable, please rate, review, and share it. That is the best way to help us build this and reach more people, as we're trying to accomplish our goal of help creating more healthy, wealthy, and wise entrepreneurs. You can follow us on social media by searching for me, Peyton Squires, or going to PeytonSquires.com. On the website and social media, we're always sharing tips of personal growth, and there we can actually interact. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.